Hello, everyone. My name is Alexa, and I'll be talking about my leadership journey today. I'll be talking about basically the past, present, and future. So, first, let's talk about the beginning. So, at the beginning of this degree, I was a brand new paramedic. I had just gotten my degree, my associate's degree, and my paramedic license, and became working as a paramedic. I used to call myself a baby medic. I was brand new. I didn't really know what I wanted to do from there. I just wanted to work as a paramedic and see how that went. I used to call myself an aspiring leader, and I still do today, just because I wanted to learn as much as possible. I wanted to get better. And one of my goals was to just improve myself in any way that I could think of in that time. So at that time, it was becoming a better leader, just because as a paramedic, those critical thinking skills and the confidence, you need to be a leader to be a really competent paramedic. Um, so part of that was, again, doing this degree and gaining that experience in the field as a paramedic. Um, I I was very susceptible. I was very negative to change. I wasn't very open to change, but this degree helped me overcome that obstacle and helped me be better. Now let's talk about what I learned throughout this degree. So the key areas of learning. So in the beginning, it was the foundation. So the foundation of leadership. I learned what it meant to be a leader, and if it kind of helped me decide, am I a leader or do I need to work to be a leader? Do I want to be a leader? It made me question a lot of my what a lot of myself to get there. It wasn't just the definitions; it was just what it meant to be a leader and how does it impact others being a leader. After that, the next class, it was the data driven decision making. So that class did help me a lot focus more on the data, um, and the importance of using data to make decisions, especially as a paramedic in the healthcare field. A lot of my decisions can impact human lives. And in that case, if I don't make a decision that is bound by data, it might not be the correct decisions. If I'm using a medication that has not been proven to be effective, then I might, myself as a paramedic, I could end up hurting the patient. So that kind of changed my perspective there and started thinking more about data. And now I'm even taking a Python data course to learn more about how to utilize data analysis. So that really changed my perspective, and I started enjoying looking at data and information and just the importance of it, both in my field and outside my field, in maybe a business setting or in the energy field, looking at the data and the benefits of sustainable energy versus things like oil industry. After that, it was organizational ethics and behavior courses. Those were also pretty important in my development as a paramedic, just because as a paramedic, it's a very personal experience. I go into people's houses and treat their medical concerns or sometimes their mental concerns. It can be a very disrupting experience to individuals, especially if it's a severe emergency that they're calling 911 for. So I kind of learned that my behavior impacts others severely in my field. Even outside of my work, the way that I behave as a leader and my ethical approach can significantly affect other people's experiences. For example, as a paramedic, someone can go through the worst day of their life, and if I come in and behave negatively or disrespectfully, that can impact their life. They're having a really tough time, and without an ethical approach, that could hurt them, not just medically but emotionally, and that can affect them in the future, and it can increase their trauma response later as well. So that kind of changed my perspective and kind of put a mirror in front of me, and I was able to see myself and see my behavior and see how can I improve my behavior, because I noticed it in others as well. Especially as a paramedic, I noticed how my partner was behaving and his behavior that was not, that could be improved at that point. After that, it was a leadership theory class, which is pretty recent. It was a couple courses ago. Leadership theory kind of gave me an idea of than what I was seeing already outside. And I was able to see it in the textbook, and I was able to kind of match them up and see how they works together. I was able to see what groups or what companies needed different leadership, or even in my own department, I was able to see what my supervisors were doing and if it was effective or not effective. So in my case, as a paramedic, we have a very democratic style in department, but at times you need that autocratic to give direction and give commands without question, just because operational needs need to be met. So for example, if someone calls off for an ambulance, they're sick, they cannot come, but that ambulance needs to be staffed, that supervisor is going to make a decision no matter what everyone says, just because that ambulance needs to be staffed in order to meet the standards for that community. So no matter what anyone says, no matter who's voting, that supervisor is going to make that decision that that ambulance stays in service. So either someone has to do mandatory overtime or stay mandatory until they can find a spot. So I learned how to identify it and see if it's something that can be more effective, or is it just a slight change that could be adjusted, or maybe it's myself that I need to learn how to be that kind of leader, such as a situational versus contingent leader. So there's another aspect that I started looking at in public after I read all these theories, and I was looking at myself. I'm like, as a paramedic, I'm a situational leader. I have to adapt all the time to different situations. It could be a very simple incident where it's just, one person, me and my partner, we're going to the hospital, or it could be a 3-car motor vehicle accident involving 3 fire trucks and 3 ambulances and myself and 6 patients and 3 hospital transportations. So that kind of made me see all those theories in play. After that, it was the leading change. So change is something that I wasn't very welcoming to. I used to be very scared of change. It kind of just threw me off every time. When I started this degree, I still had that mentality, but after going through each course, I started opening myself up and basically taking in what I was seeing. I was able to see myself again in the mirror, and I could see what I was lacking. And one of them was that receptive um, mindset to change, especially as a paramedic. For example, I am in a station 9. So station 9 is my home. It's where I go every shift. Yet, is really good for me to stay at one station all the time. Sure, it can help me grow with my coworkers, but it also made me very scared to go outside of other stations because now I'm used to having that comfort zone. So if I move to another station, I'm not going to be as comfortable. But now I know that going to another station is another opportunity for me to grow that territory, to know the people, to make connections with the people, to help strengthen that bond with that paramedic at that station. So now I have that perspective of positivity that can come with change. Now, as a leader, this is a little broader because, again, it could have so many benefits. In the field of paramedicine, one of them was administration of blood in the field. Many people disagreed that basically said they don't need blood in the field, that they can just go to the hospital. But I have seen given blood to, I would say, at least 5 patients in the past year, and they have made dramatic difference. By the time we got to the hospital, they were almost back to normal, or they were in a stable condition versus deteriorating. So that was a big difference that I saw. Me personally saw those 5 patients across the department or across the country. I can guarantee you there's a lot more. And so that was one of the things that I changed. And I learned a lot from leading change, not just how to prepare myself to change, but also make an example to others how change can be good and how to implement change effectively using systems, organizational systems, and both before and after change to make sure that change is successful. Lastly, it was my capstone. So far in my capstone, I've learned a lot about how I can put all of these things together, and it helped me organize my thinking a lot. Now I am not just thinking about theories and behavior sometimes. Now I'm thinking, how does my behavior do with my theories? How does my ethics come into play in here? How does leading change come into this system that I need to fix? How do I put everything together? So it's very different writing now that I can put everything together. It definitely takes a little more work. That way I can word things a little bit more efficiently now that I have all this information to pile up in one essay. But it's helping organize my thinking a lot better. Um, Now let's talk about my leadership today. So, how do I describe myself as a leader today? I would still describe myself as a dynamic, aspiring leader. I'm still someone that's continuing to learn, even after 2 years of being a paramedic. I still have things that I have not seen. I sometimes a call drops, and I know that it's going to be a bad incident or it's going to be a critical incident, and my heart still races. And I still think of all the things that I need to do. I still have that checklist. But now I am a lot more organized and I'm a lot more open to change or unexpected the unexpected. I welcome the unexpected now. One of the things that I also learn is how to communicate more effectively, both as a paramedic and as a leader, just because before I was unable to really form the words as clear as I can now. Just after a year, 2 years of doing this degree, I'm able to see my words in writing and how to give basically not commands, but basically roles and how do I need to communicate clearly, both in email, text, or in person. I'm able to communicate a lot more effectively. So I would say now I would consider myself, like I said, inspiring, dynamic, learning leader. And I plan to continue that journey by continuing to learn. Now let's talk about the future. Where do you go from here, and what do I need to continue my leadership journey? So, from here, my goal is to eventually promote from my place as a paramedic to promote to a supervisor or a captain position, which is basically my next level. By doing so, I hope to expand my role in my department and impact more individuals and help others grow as well. I am also an instructor, so I already teach a lot of classes. I do a lot of public speaking in my department. I'm also part of the engagement committee, and now I transitioned from the engagement to the clinical committee. So now I'm assisting with the clinical side of the department. As a captain or as a supervisor position, that would really help just broaden my scope, and I can impact more lives that way. In order to prepare for that, I started to learn more about data analysis. So I've been doing a Python data course, Pandas data course, and also in strengthening my skills, things like Excel and other technological cases, just because in the future, a lot of the way that the emergency services is going is just data analysis, and not just for clinical side of things, but also improvement, like quality improvement and just effectiveness across the department. So that's what I'm starting to work from. That way I can make my way there. So getting all my certifications for EMS for instructor, getting outside experience like data analysis and stuff like that, and again improving myself as a leader. And I hope to continue to learn even after that, eventually, again, moving up the ladder into a higher role, such as a chief or an assistant, basically a director in a way. And that is it. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.